Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to explore a deeply human experience, one that honestly frustrates even the most disciplined among us. We're looking at the planning fallacy, or more specifically, how your own brain actively tricks you into feeling productive when, in reality, you haven't moved forward at all. Look, if you constantly feel like you're working incredibly hard but getting absolutely nowhere, I want you to know right now you are not alone, and you are not necessarily lazy. You were simply caught in a highly evolved neurological trap.
So, tell me if this sounds familiar. Have you ever spent hours just preparing to work? Organizing your desk, watching a dozen tutorials on the optimal way to complete a task, or meticulously writing out this perfect, color-coded to-do list, only to look up and realize the entire day is gone and you've actually accomplished nothing? Let that sink in for a second. It is a profoundly demoralizing feeling. You sit at your beautifully clean desk, exhausted from the sheer effort of preparation, yet you're staring at a blank page or a completely untouched project. It feels like a personal failure, right? Like a lack of willpower? But I assure you, it is something far more systematic than that.
Which brings us to Section 1, the illusion of productivity, a behavioral anomaly. To overcome this lost time, we first need to change how we view the behavior itself. We have to stop looking at this as a moral failing. From a clinical perspective, your brain is just generating a highly convincing illusion. You feel the physical and mental sensation of working, but the output remains at zero. We call this productive procrastination. Let's look at the symptoms. Organizing the desk, watching tutorials, writing that flawless to-do list. On the surface, these look exactly like work. They're adjacent to the work. In any professional environment, organization and planning are highly praised. And actually, that is exactly why this trap is so insidious. You aren't playing a video game or sleeping on the couch. You are actively engaged in tasks that feel incredibly responsible. Yet they're a facade. They are safe, highly controlled activities that prevent you from crossing the threshold into the actual, demanding work you need to do.
This leads us to Section 2, the brain's dopamine trick, neurological deception. To truly understand why we engage in this facade, we have to look under the neurological hood and see how your brain's reward system actively deceives you. You see, our brains are complex, but they can definitely be hacked. Let's start with a foundational psychological concept called temporal self-displacement. Now, this is just an academic term for a remarkably common cognitive glitch. It's the act of mentally detaching our current selves from the reality and the burden of future tasks. When you write a massive to-do list for tomorrow, your brain doesn't actually view tomorrow you as you. It views tomorrow you almost as a stranger, like a superhero who's going to easily handle all that difficult, tedious work. You literally displace the effort through time. By doing this, the current you feels the immense relief of having a plan, while entirely avoiding the friction of doing the work today.
And this displacement creates something absolutely critical, the intention-action gap. Think of this as the psychological void that exists between planning to do something and actually doing it. It is the vast silent canyon where your goals go to die. Having the intention to complete a project, well, that's a cognitive process. But executing it, that's a behavioral one. The gap between them is filled with friction, anxiety, and real effort. When we engage in productive procrastination, we're essentially pacing back and forth on the edge of this gap. We're just staring at our intentions, but flat out refusing to build the bridge of action required to actually cross it.
So, let's map out exactly why we get stuck on that edge by tracing the brain's dopamine cycle. Step 1. You imagine progress. You visualize the finished project or that perfectly executed plan. Step 2 is the trap. Your brain releases unearned dopamine. Now, dopamine is the chemical of reward and motivation, but right here, you are receiving the chemical reward simply for imagining the success without having earned it through any actual effort. Step 3. Because of that dopamine spike, you genuinely feel accomplished. You feel satisfied. And therefore, Step 4. You take no actual action. I mean, why would you? As far as your primitive reward circuitry is concerned, the job is already done. Your brain has successfully tricked you into feeling the satisfaction of the finish line while you are still standing right there at the starting blocks. Now, on to Section 3, the one-day lullaby. Ego preservation. Why is our neurology wired to reward us for doing absolutely nothing? This isn't just about dopamine, it's about psychological self-preservation. Think about these two simple words, one day. One day I'll start that business. One day I'll write that book. One day I'll get my finances in perfect order. This phrase acts as a soothing mental lullaby. It's a whisper we use to comfort ourselves when the reality of our inaction becomes just a bit too painful to acknowledge. Saying one day allows us to maintain this beautifully idealized vision of ourselves in the future, without requiring a single sacrifice or risk from us in the present moment.
But what are we actually comforting ourselves against here? Well, we are protecting our ego from the discomfort of potential failure. And that is the empathetic truth of the planning fallacy. Executing a task means bringing it into the real world. And let's face it, the real world is messy. Your project might be rejected, your writing might be criticized. You might even find out you aren't quite as skilled as you hoped. But as long as the project remains just a plan, a meticulously organized outline sitting on your desk, it remains perfect. It literally cannot fail. Productive procrastination is a defense mechanism. We obsessively plan because planning is safe. Doing is vulnerable.
Understanding that defense mechanism is the only way to dismantle it. Section 4. Motion versus progress. Closing the gap.
Now that we've diagnosed the illusion, the dopamine trick, and the ego's lullaby, it's time to look at the cognitive behavioral shift required to overcome this trickery. The absolute crucial distinction you need to make is motion versus progress. Motion is planning. It's researching, organizing, and discussing. Motion feels incredibly like work, and it triggers all that unearned dopamine, but motion will never, on its own, produce a final result. Progress, on the other hand, is action. It's the uncomfortable, risky, friction-heavy process of doing the actual thing. It's writing the bad first draft. It's making the difficult phone call. It's writing a single line of code. Motion is preparing to do the work. Progress is doing it. To close the gap between dreaming and doing, you have to become ruthlessly honest with yourself about whether you are merely in motion or if you are actually making progress.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What motion can you replace with progress today? What safe preparatory task have you been hiding behind? Look, your brain is remarkably skilled at keeping you comfortable and protecting your ego from failure through the illusion of productivity. But you are now aware of the trick. You can recognize the unearned dopamine and that one-day lullaby. The next time you find yourself spending hours perfecting a to-do list, I encourage you to gently pause, step away from the motion, and commit to just 5 minutes of actual, uncomfortable progress. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, be mindful of your actions and choose progress over motion.